Good morning all of you. This video is basically continuation of my last video, which is part 5 of chemical reaction and equation. In that video we are discussing about types of chemical reaction. In that we discussed up to displacement reaction and how displacement reaction worked and some homework I gave to you people. Now let's just discuss the fourth type of chemical reaction. As we all know that there are four type of chemical reaction. First is combination reaction, second is decomposition reaction, third is displacement reaction. Now the fourth type of chemical reaction we will discuss, that is double displacement reaction. Now what is double displacement reaction? Basically, double displacement reaction may be defined as the chemical reaction in which one component of each of both reacting molecule, we can say that displacement reaction is a type of chemical reaction in which one component of each of both the reacting molecules in exchange to form product. In simple language we can understand double displacement reaction means a type of a chemical reaction in which one of the component of both the reactant interchange their place in order to give a combination of product, and that type of reaction is known as a double displacement reaction. During this reaction, the cations and anions of two different compounds switch places, forming two entirely different compounds. For example, you will understand from here. Suppose one reaction is there, one compound is AB and another compound is CD. So what exactly happen? A will take the place of C and C will take the place of A, and after the reaction what product get formed? C get attached with B and form CD as a product, CB as a product, and A get attached with D and form a product as AD. So this is how double displacement reaction works. So we will define it, a type of a chemical reaction in which one of the component of both reactant interchange or exchange their place in order to provide entirely new product with new properties. Now let's just understand with one activity what they are. So for that what we have to do, we have to take 100 ml of water in a beaker and dissolve a small quantity of sodium sulfate. We have to take 100 ml of water in one beaker and dissolve sodium sulfate. Now after that take another 100 ml of water in another beaker and dissolve another small quantity of barium chloride. Now add the solution of both the beaker. What you have to do? You have to mix both the solution. You have to intermix both the solution. What you will get? See, you have to take some amount of barium chloride solution. You have to just keep aside, and some amount of sodium sulfate solution you have to just keep aside, and after that you have to mix it. Now what observation you will get? Note the change in the color of solution. In both the beaker you will see the color change. What you did? You just took the sodium sulfate solution. Now you took some amount of barium chloride solution in a 1:1 test tube. Now just mix barium chloride solution in beaker A in which sodium sulfate solution is present. Now sodium sulfate solution which is present in a test tube just mix with barium chloride solution present in beaker. Now observe the change. What you will see? That change in the colors. Now what you get it? Sodium sulfate react with barium chloride and form a white precipitate of barium sulfate, which proves that in both the beakers displacement reaction takes place along with the formation of barium sulfate white precipitate and sodium chloride solution. Now let's just see. Sodium sulfate react with barium chloride, it will give us barium sulfate and sodium chloride. By this it get proof that double displacement reaction is that reaction in one of the component of both reactant interchange their product in order to provide new type of substance with completely or entirely new properties. In this reaction you will observe that white substance which is insoluble in water is formed. This insoluble substance formed is known as precipitate that we already discussed. The solid substance formed during a chemical reaction is known as a precipitate, and any reaction that produce precipitate is called precipitation reaction. It is also one of the type of reaction, precipitation reaction, whenever there is a chemical reaction takes place and because of that precipitate get formed, or we can say that a solid substance get formed, so that type of reaction is known as precipitate reaction. Now let's just understand more clearly with some more examples. See, just recall activity. By this you are given test tube the solution of lead nitrate that we already did. See, in decomposition reaction we heated lead nitrate in order to get lead oxide along with nitrogen oxide and hydrogen gas. So just take that lead nitrate whose formula is PbNO3 whole twice. So what you have to do, you have to mix this lead nitrate mixture with potassium iodide. After that, what you have to note down, what was the color of precipitate formed, and can you name the compound and precipitate? Means after mixing lead nitrate with potassium iodide, which product is formed, what is the color of the product and the name of the product that you have to do. After that, write down the balanced chemical equation for this reaction, how actually lead nitrate react and what product is formed, that you have to show in a form of chemical reaction. Third thing is that, is this also a double displacement reaction? You have to prove whether is this a double displacement reaction or not. So let's just see how you people will do. See, what you will do, you just write down the reaction. After that, what you will get, when lead nitrate treated with potassium iodide, what product will form? That potassium nitrate along with lead iodide. So your main product is lead iodide whose color is yellow in color. In test tube, when you mix it, you will see yellow color precipitate is formed, which is a lead iodide along with a colorless liquid, that is potassium nitrate. So the answer of first question, what was the color of the precipitate? The color of the precipitate is yellow. Name of the compound precipitate is lead iodide. Write down the chemical equation, we already shown it here. Now, is this a double displacement reaction? Yes, it is a double displacement reaction because lead is taking a place of potassium and potassium is taking a place of lead, and because of this potassium nitrate and lead iodide is formed. Now, let's just study our one more type of chemical reaction, or basically we can say that a process, that is oxidation and reduction. In simple language, when both the process takes place simultaneously, then that process comes in a category of redox reaction. So let's just start. What is oxidation and reduction? See, first thing, let me explain what is redox reaction. Whenever oxidation and reduction process takes place in a single reaction only or takes place simultaneously, so that type of chemical reaction is known as a redox reaction. Now, let's just understand what is oxidation reaction. The chemical reaction involving addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen is called oxidation reaction. Means whenever you will see that there is an addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen, so that type of reaction is known as a oxidation reaction. Similarly, reduction, the chemical reaction involving addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen are called reduction reaction. Oxidation and reduction is just opposite of each other. In oxidation means oxygen is get added, and if oxygen is not present, then removal of hydrogen. In case of reduction, addition of hydrogen. If hydrogen is not present in reaction, then we will see the removal of oxygen. See, this is a old concept. Basically, two new concepts are also introduced to explain oxidation and reduction process. See, oxidation reaction is that type of reaction in which addition of electronegative elements. Why I use the term electronegative element? Because the nature of oxygen is electronegative in nature. So there are many reactions in which neither oxygen is present nor hydrogen is present. So in that case, how we will identify which reaction is oxidation reaction or reduction reaction? So in that case, what we will do? We will see addition of electronegative elements or removal of electropositive elements. Wherever that type of things are happening, so that type of reaction is known as a oxidation reaction. Similarly, in case of reduction reaction, see, the nature of hydrogen is electropositive, the nature of oxygen is electronegative. So on the basis of the nature of oxygen and hydrogen, the new concept is introduced. So the reduction process is that the process or the change or the chemical reaction in which addition of electropositive elements or removal of electronegative element is there. So that type of reaction is known as reduction reaction. See, there are many reactions in which neither oxygen is present nor hydrogen is present. In that case also, we have to find out that which reactant is going in a oxidation reaction and which one is going in a reduction reaction. So with the help of electropositive element and electronegative element, we will easily find out. So in case of oxidation, addition of electronegative element or removal of electropositive element. Okay. In case of reduction, addition of electropositive element and reduction of electronegative element. So wherever these kind of thing is there, that is known as a oxidation and reduction process. See, whenever these two reaction takes place simultaneously, so that type of reaction is known as a redox reaction. You will understand with this reaction, when ferric oxide react with carbon dioxide, it will give you iron plus carbon dioxide. See, in ferric oxide, the number of atom of oxygen is 3. Okay. On reactant side, the number of atom of oxygen is 3 in ferric oxide. But on product side, along with iron, no oxygen is present. It means that here removal of oxygen takes place, and whenever there is removal of oxygen, the process is said to be reduction process. Now, in case of CO, means carbon monoxide, on reactant side, the number of oxygen atom present in carbon monoxide is 1. But on product side, the total number of oxygen atom present in carbon dioxide is 2. It means that the number of oxygen atom increases, so there is addition of oxygen atom. So this means ferric oxide undergo in a reduction process and carbon monoxide undergo in a oxidation process. See, ferric oxide is also known as oxidizing agent and carbon monoxide is also known as reducing agent. We can understand by this कि whenever in any chemical reaction, any reactant undergo in a oxidation process, so that reactant behave like reducing agent and the reactant which undergo in a reduction process it behave like oxidizing agent. Understand by this, suppose one reaction is there, A plus B, and you are getting C plus D. So A is going in a oxidation process and giving C, and B is going in a reduction process and giving D. So a reactant which undergo in oxidation process is known as a reducing agent, and the substance or the reactant which undergo in a reduction process is known as a oxidizing agent. Now hope all of you understood that topic. This topic is very, very important. Now let's just start our next topic or some more example by which we will understand the remaining topics. Now the reaction between copper and oxygen to show the oxidation process. See, here we can see that oxidation activity. Take 1 gram of copper powder in a brown in color in ball china dish. When you take a copper, actually the color of copper is brown in color. So when you take in a ball china dish is a small bowl like structure which is used for boiling or evaporating any chemical or any mixture, their aqueous solution. Now what you have to do, place the dish on the tripod stand. This stand is known as a tripod stand with wire gauge. This is known as a wire gauge. Heat the copper powder using Bunsen burner. The name of this burner is Bunsen burner. Now what observation you will get? The color of the copper powder turns black from brown. Immediately the color of copper get turned into black from brown. Now what happened here? Copper get mixed with the environmental oxygen and get oxidized, and because of that oxidation copper oxide compound is get formed. So here what we learned, the solid copper powder burned in the presence of oxygen, the product formed is black, that is copper oxide. The reactant copper gained oxygen in the reaction, hence it is a oxidation process. See, copper is a single atom get mixed with oxygen. See, look at here, copper is a single atom mixed with oxygen. It just get mixed and gives copper oxide which is black in color, which shows that here oxidation process takes place. Now let's just see some more examples. See, reaction between copper oxide and hydrogen. Till now, we discussed about the oxidation process and example of oxidation process. Now, we will discuss about reduction and example of reduction. To understand reduction process more clearly, let's just perform one activity. What you have to do? You have to take black copper oxide in a glass tube, supported with two stand or both end. Means just take a test tube and in that put black copper oxide. After that put cork with nozzle in them on the two ends. You have to put cork on both the ends. Now pass the hydrogen gas from the nozzle of the first cork and allow the gas to leave for the nozzle of the cork on the other hand. You have to pass the hydrogen gas. Use the Bunsen burner to heat the black copper oxide powder in the presence of hydrogen gas. After the, what you have to do, you have to take black copper oxide in a glass tube supported with two stand on its both end. After that, you have to put cork with the nozzle and pass the hydrogen gas in it. Then heat the copper oxide with the help of Bunsen burner. Then what observation you will get? The black color copper powder changes its color immediately. When copper oxide react with hydrogen, immediately what happened? The color of copper oxide changes from black to brown. Now here what exactly happened? Copper oxide reacted with hydrogen gas and undergo in a reduction process and loses its oxygen. Similarly, hydrogen gas gain oxygen from copper and undergo in a oxidation process. So in this reaction we are able to see oxidation also or reduction also. So this type of reaction is known as a redox reaction. Now what the things we learned about this experiment or about this activity? See, copper oxide gain hydrogen or loss oxygen and turn into copper again. The color of copper is brown itself only. Hence, it is reduction. It is clear. In this reaction, copper oxide is said to be reduced and hydrogen is said to be oxidized. Already I explained कि copper oxide react with hydrogen gas, it will give copper and water molecule. So here copper is losing oxygen and hydrogen gas is gaining oxygen. That's why copper is undergo in a reduction process and hydrogen undergo oxidation process. So together oxidation and reduction form redox reaction. So this is all about oxidation process and reduction process. We understood with the help of examples also. Now let's just discuss some more examples of redox reaction as well as some examples which we are using in our day-to-day life of oxidation and reduction. Let's just see. So here other examples are there, like zinc oxide react with carbon and form zinc and carbon monoxide. Similarly, magnesium oxide react with hydrochloric acid and form magnesium chloride along with water molecule and chlorine gas. So in both the reactions, oxidation and reduction process takes place simultaneously. So these are the example of redox reaction itself. Recall the activity. Just take a activity to understand redox reaction more clearly. You are given magnesium ribbon and you are burning in air. You observe that magnesium ribbon burned with dazzling flame in air and change into white substance. Now, what is the compound form? Is magnesium being oxidized or reduced in this reaction? So, you can say that how you will answer these questions. So, for that, what you have to do? How you will give the answer? See, magnesium ribbon whenever burned with oxygen, it will form white color precipitate of magnesium oxide. So it is a oxidized, means magnesium get mixed with oxygen and form a magnesium oxide. So magnesium undergo in oxidation process or oxidation reaction. The compound form is magnesium oxide. So this is all about this activity and the answer of this activity. Now let's just discuss the effect of oxidation reaction in our day-to-day life. There are many effects which we are seeing in our day-to-day life. So let's just enlist them. So first example is that browning of cut surface of fruit. Whenever we used to cut any fruit, immediately we saw that the color of the upper surface of fruit get turned into either brown or black and sometimes some other color. So what exactly it is? It is due to the chemicals present in the fruit get react with oxygen and get oxidized. So because of that, the browning of fruit, cut surface of fruit takes place. Now the most important topic, the most important effect of oxidation is corrosion. See what exactly the corrosion is. Corrosion is a type of a chemical change in which metals comes in contact with air, water and the moisture present in our surrounding along with a several type of gases. When because of these, whenever metals comes in contact of these things like air, water, several other gases, it undergo in oxidation process and immediately their color get changed. So that type of change is known as a corrosion. So we can define corrosion by this: the process in which metals are eaten up gradually by the action of air, moisture and chemical on the surface. That is known as a corrosion. Corrosion is a very important topic. I already explained you. Now, next effect is burning of crackers. Whenever we burn the crackers, that is also the effect of oxidation only. Now, rancidity. Next effect of oxidation is rancidity. The spoiling of food material due to slow oxidation is called rancidity. See, now summer days are here now, when we keep our food material in which oil and fat is present for a longer period of a time in open air or outside in presence of sunlight or anything, it undergo oxidation process and we are getting a foul smell. So that process is known as a rancidity. So we can define it: the spoiling of food material due to slow oxidation is called rancidity. Now, how we will prevent our metals as well as food material from corrosion and rancidity? Let's just discuss the prevention methods of corrosion and rancidity. Before that, let's just see some example of corrosion which we are observing in our day-to-day life only. So, see, some example of corrosions are rusting of iron. We oftenly see whenever iron come in contact with moisture, immediately it form a brown color layer, reddish brown color layer on the top surface of iron metal, and that is called as rust. This is because of the formation of ferric oxide compound along with the association of X molecule of water. So that is the most common example of corrosion. Second is tarnishing of silver. We always see that whatever the silver ornaments are there, after some period of a time it just get turned into black. So how exactly it happen? Silver metal get mixed with hydrogen sulfide and form silver sulfide along with hydrogen gas. So due to the formation of silver sulfide only, that black color appear on the silver ornaments. Silver get combined with hydrogen sulfide and gives a black color product of silver sulfide. Next example is copper corrosion or tarnishing of copper metal. Might be you observed in our homes that whatever the copper utensils we are using, after some period of a time, either it turn it into a blue form or into a green form. So why? Because copper undergo in a oxidation process. Due to that, its color get turned into either blue or black. See, first copper mixed with oxygen and form a cuprous oxide. Then that cuprous oxide again mix with oxygen and form a cupric oxide or copper oxide. And this copper oxide react with carbon dioxide, sulfur trioxide, water molecule, or in presence of any other chemicals, and form a compound basic copper, or we can say that other chemical compound by which the color of copper utensils or copper metal get changed into blue or green. So these are the examples of corrosion. Now let's just discuss the prevention method of corrosion. How we will prevent any metal from corrosion. So the first method is that avoid exposure to corrosive agent. That is, you just avoid the contact of corrosive metal by which the corrosion takes place on metal. You have to avoid this. Prevent the deterioration of metal by limiting in contact with corrosive agent. How we will do it? By applying grease, by applying paint, by applying oil. We will protect our metal from corrosive agent like air, moisture, water and other chemicals, because paint, grease, oil behave like a protective covering over the surface of metal which avoid the direct contact of corrosive agents. Now second point is that proper monitoring of metal surface, means we have to take care of metal time to time. Third is that prevent galvanic corrosion. Galvanic corrosion means we have to prevent it. Galvanization is a process in which we apply a zinc oxide coating over the surface of metal. What happen exactly? Some metal undergo in a galvanic corrosion. Okay, by this they just get cored. In order to prevent this, what we have to do? We have to perform the galvanization process. In galvanization process, we have to apply a zinc oxide coating on the surface of metals to avoid the corrosion. See, in galvanization process, we use galvanic cell. Okay. Now the next method is protect the metal surface, that we already discussed by the oiling, painting and greasing. Metallic plating, we have to cover the metal with a metallic plating by coiling up with the other metal. See, some metals are very less reactive in nature. So what we have to do in order to prevent our metal, we have to plate some other metal over the surface of the present metal in order to prevent it. So likewise, this many other methods are also by which we can prevent our metals from corrosion. Now let's just discuss prevention method of rancidity. As we know that rancidity is a slow deterioration of food material in which oil and fat is present, then how we will prevent it? So by adding antioxidant to the food, that's how we will prevent our food from to get rancid. Now storing food in a airtight container to slow down the process of rancidification. Airtight pockets may we have to refrigerate the food also to slow down the rancidity process, and replacing oxygen in the container with another gas like nitrogen. See, whatever the chips packet we are seeing it, they are get preserved for a long period of time. How? Because in those packet nitrogen gases filled which prevent our food material. So we will use antioxidant like salt behave like an antioxidant, and many other chemicals are also which behave like an antioxidant to prevent our food from rancidification. Storing food in an airtight container, that also prevent. Refrigerating, commonly we are used to keep our food material in refrigerator because under refrigerator temperature is very low, so our food not get oxidized. Last is by replacing oxygen in the containers with another type of gas. So up to there we discussed about the rancidity and corrosion and their prevention method. Now let's just discuss our last topic, that is some miscellaneous and some important question for board exam point of view, which is given in NCERT question. That question you have to solve it also. All the questions are totally based on whatever we study up to now. So now let's just discuss that topic also. See, before some miscellaneous question of NCERT which you have to solve in your copy. First question is, what is redox reaction? Second question is, what is corrosion? Explain its advantage and disadvantage. Third question is, what is rancidity and how we can reduce the problem of rancidity? That we already discussed. How is corrosion different from rusting? In difference only we discussed already. What is meant by exothermic and endothermic? Give suitable example. That also we discussed. Define different type of chemical reaction and give example of each. We already discussed there are four type of chemical reaction and each chemical reaction we discuss in detail with the help of activity itself. Now let's just discuss more question which is important for board exam point of view. Question 7th is, why is photosynthesis considered as endothermic reaction? That also we discuss. In form of respiration we discuss why respiration is considered as exothermic reaction. Similarly, why photosynthesis is considered as endothermic reaction? Because we are using sunlight as an external energy. That's why it is known as exothermic reaction. 8th question is, electrolysis of water. Why is the volume of one gas collected over one electrode is double of the other electrode? That already I told you, because at the time of formation of water only two atoms of hydrogen is present and one atom of oxygen is present. So it always get combined in a ratio of 2:1. That's why the amount of hydrogen gas is double in comparison to the amount of oxygen gas. 9th question is that what happens when water is added to solid calcium oxide taken in container? Write down the formula of the same. See, solid calcium oxide is taken in container. So what you will write down? CaO. That you have to write down. Now, give one use of quicklime. Use of quicklime is what? Whitewashing. It is used and many other uses are there. Give 3 type of decomposition reaction. That also we discussed. There are 3 type of decomposition reaction. That is homolytic decomposition reaction, photolytic decomposition reaction, and electrolytic decomposition reaction. Thermolysis, photolysis and electrolysis. These 3 type of chemical reaction is known as a decomposition reaction. Now, last question is, name the compound used for testing CO2 gas. Which compound we are using it for the testing of carbon dioxide gas? That we will write down. So all these questions you have to solve in your fair copy. For board exam point of view, these questions are very, very important, and the answer of these questions, all questions we already discussed while teaching only. So for this chapter is completed. Now for that you have to solve as much as question you are able to solve it. Now stay healthy, happy and safe. Thank you.